Hey J-Rock fans, Court here with another video review for Project Licks. This time we'll be talking about Sukekiyo's newest release, their very first live DVD, Persuasio. If you don't know anything about Sukekiyo, it is the Deer and Grey frontman Kyo, along with members of Cannibalism and Nine Goats Blackout, and just a really amazing bunch of musicians. I'm not going to talk too much about the music itself in this review. If you want to go check it out on your own, they have both a full-length album and a mini album out, Immortalis and Vitium, both of which are excellent. I highly recommend going and grabbing those. On this one, I'm going to be talking mostly about performance and cinematography. The performances on this are, with a group of musicians like that, it's going to be spot on. You know it's going to be. One of the things I do want to say about it, though, if you are expecting like the, down dirty, gritty kind of live rock show experience with this DVD, that's not really what this is. The feeling of the whole show, it's actually very, very formal, which was really odd, especially coming in with my experience from Deer and Grey. I'm a huge Deer and Grey fan. I'm going to really try not to compare them too much, but Kyo is such a huge presence on the stage. It's really kind of hard not to. But bringing that in with me, you expect a really gritty, like intense rock show. That's not really what this is. This was very formal. They're all wearing suits and kimono and all very composed and, not a lot of screaming and jumping around like you would normally see at a rock show. In fact, when I was first watching it, I wondered if there was even actually really an audience out there. I really thought it was just a live studio performance that they recorded. Not that I doubt that the performances are real. I just didn't think they were really in front of an audience. But the longer you watch it, and also the documentary footage on this one, this is actually the limited edition that has some documentary footage on there. You get a little more of an idea of what the room was like and what the audience was like. So that's definitely something that's different. And because of the formality of the event, it made the whole performance feel much more controlled. I know usually when you go to, especially a hard rock style live, there's kind of an element of chaos involved. You never know what's going to happen on the stage. There's always, the possibility of something going wrong, or, the performance just kind of taking a left turn, especially when you're talking about Kyo, because he seems like he's on the edge of losing his mind about half the time whenever he's on stage. That really wasn't the case with this either. The performances were very intense and very emotional, but it was all much more, it just all felt really tightly controlled. Even another really unique element to this show was there is a instrumental break about halfway through the set where a pair of dancers came out on the stage, both wrapped in gauze, and they came out and did this very sort of almost kabuki style kind of interpretive, very, strange and beautiful dance, where they both had their faces completely covered with bandages, and they just gradually sort of unwrapped each other in this really sort of expressive way. Partway through, Kyo joins them and adds his voice to the instrumental mix and joins in the dance, and the whole thing is very just kind of otherworldly, and it's really, really difficult to explain. It was a really beautiful moment in the show, though, and I really kind of want to highlight that moment. Maybe I'll take some screen caps later and I'll post them on in one of our Facebook communities, so keep a lookout for that. But it is definitely one of the more interesting and unique moments in the show, and I just can't say anything else about it. It's a really beautiful moment. I really want to talk about the cinematography and the way that the performance was presented on film. At the very beginning of the live, the live starts out kind of low key, and all the colors are very muted and almost black and white, maybe more like a sepia kind of a tone. And as the music and the performance intensifies, the colors intensify with it. And it's so subtle. Like, I didn't even notice it the first time I watched it. It was the second time I was watching it that I really started to see that happen. It starts off with, going from black and white to a more sepia color. And then the blues start coming in and really bright reds. And you start to notice, the intensity of those things, rising and falling with the intensity of the music. And it really did a nice job of setting the tone of the entire live. It had a really sort of emotional effect. I think that was extremely well done, and whoever put that together and made those choices, and it was a stroke of brilliance in my opinion. The show is also intercut with some still images and video images that were obviously filmed elsewhere. Sometimes there's clips from the videos for the single releases, and all of it sort of superimposed upon the performance itself, or intercut with the performance itself. Sometimes it was lyric cards. There were also some, in fact, the whole show itself begins with Kyo reading some poetry. I wish my Japanese was better. It sounds really nice, but I can't tell you what he said. But it starts and ends with speech. It really does a nice job of bookending the musical performance and tying it up into something a little more artistic. Not that, obviously, not that Alive isn't artistic, but it just sort of makes it, kind of fits in with the formality of the format. The whole thing feels more like an art house film, something in between Alive and something you could see in a theater or on a more formal stage. As I said before, this is the limited edition version. It did come with some documentary footage from the live performance that's on the DVD. It also comes with some footage for a second live performance that is actually a little more of, the type of live that we're used to. It's a little more gritty, and it's got the audience with the jumping up and down and being crazy. It's a little closer to what we're used to seeing. So that's interesting to see a little bit of both sides of this band. So I really recommend, if you're able, to get the limited edition version. It comes all on one disc, so don't expect anything huge. Looks kind of like this. And comes with a cool sticker. That's a round sticker. I don't know if you can see the cut right there on the camera. But I definitely recommend getting that one for the extra footage. It is really well worth it. There's some really cool rehearsal footage in there too. That's always fun to watch. Final verdict: get it, do it. It's excellent. You will not regret it. I promise. It is worth every penny. The performances are spot on, and the film itself is beautiful. So really, just go get it. I'll leave all the pertinent links down below where you can purchase the DVD, because I know you want it. And check out music from Sukekiyo. If you have the DVD, let me know what you thought of it. Leave it down in the comments below. Also, if you have any suggestions for future videos, I'd love to check those out for you. So let me know in the comments down below. Also, we got some really good suggestions. Some really good feedback on our last video. I really appreciate everybody that commented on those. This is Court with Project Lix. We'll see you next time. Bye.